All right. A warm welcome to all of you, wherever you are in this moment. May you be safe and happy and well. And for happy hour today, we are going to continue with the theme we have been exploring the past few meetings. So we started to explore the relationship between Metta, cultivating kindness, goodwill, friendliness for ourselves and others, with relation to the factors of the Eightfold Path. So, and today we have made it to the fifth factor, which is wise livelihood. Wise livelihood. Another very important one. And just to quickly review, the triad, which this is the third one of wise speech, wise action, wise livelihood. They're very external. Of course, wise action could be considered actions of the mind, but this triad in the Eightfold Path is very external, how we show up in the world with our speech, with our actions, with our livelihood, how we earn our living, support ourselves, support others. So this is a very important factor for all lay people, whether you work or you're retired. This is still relevant. So if you're not working right now, if you're retired, please don't tune out. There are aspects of this, aspects of how you share your gifts, your resources, your energy in the world, which is still relevant. So please still consider the ways in which you show up in the world. So if you have volunteer work, or the way you spend your time, to still be a way that you are spending your precious resource, which is your time, your energy, your resource. So I'll say a couple of words about this relationship, and then we'll get into the guided meditation, which will be 30 minutes. And as you know, there will be some time for reflections and speaking in groups afterwards. So, wise livelihood. There are basically, there's so much I can say, but I'll keep it really pith and brief. The Buddha basically says there are 5 livelihoods that are not wise. And those are dealing in weapons, dealing in human beings, meat, intoxicants, poisons. And anything that's not those, by definition, can be considered wise livelihood. And this is an ancient teaching 2,600 years ago, when people didn't have so much choice, of course, in their livelihood, in their families, and in their caste, etc. But now we can actually have a higher bar if we wanted to with this teaching. So I'd like to invite you to consider any way, any wholesome way that is not harmful, any wholesome way that is not harming you, and it's not harming others, and is helping you support yourself, feed yourself, have a roof over your head, and to support others who depend on you, whom you support, to consider that to be wise livelihood. It's right livelihood to support yourself, to take care of yourself, this dear being, as long as you're not harming, in those ways that I mentioned, poisons and this and that. So perhaps we can also take the same definition really in this way. There's more to be said about it, but let's just take this as one approach to wise livelihood. Now, with respect to metta, metta can be expressed, metta, as we've explored, as an expression of goodwill, care, friendliness for yourself and for others, is part of the fabric of making a livelihood in the world, supporting yourself and others. And by expressing your care, your friendliness in the world through your work, or actually through working, through taking care of yourself and others, you are expressing your care, your friendliness, and metta for yourself. You're taking care of this being. So on some very, very basic level, we can see the relationship between the two. And we'll explore it more in the guided meditation. We'll see what comes up in this territory. So I will speak no more, and instead I would like to invite you right now to transition to whatever posture is most supportive for you in your meditation right now. Whether you need to transition to lie down, if you need to transition to sit up straighter, more sense of integrity in your chair, your cushion, whether you need to relax and soften. And let us begin by greeting ourselves, by greeting this being whom we're the steward of, greeting ourselves with kindness. Hello. Not taking this being for granted at all. Not taking our life for granted. The fact that we're alive for granted. The fact that we have some level of health, well-being in this moment. Not taking any of this for granted and greeting this being, this dear being, whom we are the guardian of. As if we were giving ourselves a warm hello. We've been perhaps busy all day, or we might be busy all day if you're starting your day. But in this moment, not forsaking this dear being, and giving yourself a mental hug, or actually if you're moved to it, let's make it physical, a physical greeting, a physical hug, just meeting yourself, holding yourself. Oh, wow. This human being here, breathing, living, struggling, feeling joy. Hello. Acknowledging yourself. And landing, deeply landing in your being. Landing in your bones. Feeling your skeleton, your bones, the hardness, the sense of structure within the body. Sitting, landing, connecting. And with the soft tissue, letting the soft tissue relax, soften. And inviting your body to receive the breath. Offering up any thoughts, any thinking in this moment. Not that there's anything wrong with thinking, but in this moment, giving it up. for the benefit of just receiving the breath, a moment of presence and silence. Just landing, being breathed for a few minutes. Letting yourself enjoy, appreciate, relish the simplicity of just sitting and breathing. Nowhere to go, nothing to do in this moment. To just be here, fully present for your own humanity. Now I would like to invite you, if you wish, to bring to mind an image of yourself as a young child. There might be an image you have in mind from a favorite photograph, from a younger age. Conjuring up this image, this feeling, felt sense of yourself. And bringing your younger self close. As if she, he, they were right next to you. We're with you. Either standing next to you, sitting next to you. Or if it feels right for you, maybe they're sitting on your lap, this younger version. See whatever feels good in this moment. And inviting, if you will, a sense of seeing that this younger version of yourself needs to be taken care of. You, as the older adult, you're much more capable. And this younger version needs to be taken care of, to be fed, to be loved, to be appreciated, to be maybe even cuddled, whatever feels appropriate for you, basically to be cared for. It's a very young child that you brought up in your mind, maybe a toddler, almost helpless, can't take care of themselves at all, or even an older child really needs protection and safety. So seeing this, see if there can be a sense of care in your heart, wanting to care for this child. And maybe also when you were at that age, maybe there were challenges, maybe you want to take care of this child. Loving, supporting, being a good, loving parent. To this younger version of yourself. Maybe even reparenting. Providing what could not have been provided, perhaps. Even with the best of intentions, maybe there were some things that couldn't be provided. Now, as a more capable adult, can care for, hold, and see the goodness, the tenderness, the sensitivity in this young child. And holding this young version with care, with metta, with friendliness. Hi, sweetie. Hello, dear one. I love you. I'll take care of you. Let me hold you. maybe without any words, just comforting and supporting, maybe rocking your child on your lap, just supporting non-verbally, whatever feels right for you. This precious little child. And feel free to be creative and see what works for you. Just as a way to explore, to express care for this child. Maybe what works is to hold their hand and go for a little walk in nature in your mind's eye. Show them the sky and the leaves. Maybe it works for you as your expression of care. To sit and feed them. Maybe cook for them as an expression of your care, if you love to cook. Or just hold them. Whatever is your way to express your care. Or maybe play with them. Maybe that's how you express your affection. Engaging in play. Maybe you're jumping up and down on the trampoline with a younger version of yourself and you're both giggling. Whatever works for you to feel this connection, sense of care. What did you love doing when you were growing up? Maybe you love to draw and paint. Maybe you see yourself doing that. And your older version encouraging you. Sharing words of comfort. Or just sitting with you with appreciation. See what works for you. Spending a few moments with an expression of connection and care, Metta. For your younger self. Taking delight as much as it's available, opening to delight. And the connection and the care. And now I'd like to invite you to feel the connection between your livelihood and your care. You're taking care of this young child, this younger version of yourself. Seeing one aspect, or many aspects, seeing one aspect of your livelihood, your wise livelihood in the world, to be an expression of metta and care, taking care of, wanting to take care of, wanting to care for, to have a roof over their head, to feed them, support them to be healthy, happy, safe, have ease in their lives, this younger version that is you. That your work, your livelihood is connected to this metta, this care. And it's wholesome, it's beautiful. And now I'd like to invite you to bow to this little child, thank them for showing up, for being a part of your practice tonight. And now, opening up to bringing in others. The child can still be here, of course, they can be sitting with you, and now inviting other beings. Perhaps first other beings who might be dependent on you, whom you support, you care for, and you're welcome to see them at this age now or maybe when they were younger. And see the connection between your livelihood and your care for these beings. And maybe you don't directly support them, perhaps. Maybe there are beings who feel supported by you showing up in the world the way you do. You can bring them in. And perhaps opening the invitation further to all those who get directly or indirectly impacted by what you do in the world. Your livelihood, the way you show up for your friends. And if you're retired or not working right now, you can expand it. It's not just your work and making a living, but how you show up, the impact of your actions. Feel free to expand this to work for you. And if you are working, making a living right now, feel free to bring in all those who are impacted, directly or indirectly. And also, if you were working at some point, or perhaps you will be in the future, let's take the long-term view. inviting all of those people, hundreds, thousands, maybe more, who are impacted directly or indirectly through time and space. And seeing your livelihood, your wise livelihood, as an expression of friendliness, an expression of goodwill that is expressed, that's offered to others, your service, your time, your attention. Seeing the service that you provide for other beings as an expression of the goodwill that you bring to the world. And seeing your engagement with the world as a gift, as your sacred offering to yourself and others, with friendliness and metta. May our engagement with the world be of service and bring goodness to ourselves and all beings everywhere. Thank you for your practice, everyone. So I'd like to invite you, if you wish, to share what came up for you, what seemed significant, reflections, questions, and I'll start. And you're welcome to type them in chat or unmute yourself. And I'll start by sharing that I really enjoyed, appreciated tonight exploring this relationship between metta and wise livelihood, and especially with the first part, as I was guiding all of us to feel this connection of care for this being that is yourself, and imagining a younger version. For me tonight, that was quite alive. I was just really connecting, jumping on a trampoline, drawing with a younger version of myself. There's just such a sense of connection and care that felt very supportive in exploring the rest. So thank you for practicing with me, creating the condition. So anybody else, please, can unmute yourself or chat.
I can say something.
Please, Megan.
It's kind of loud. I got home like 3 minutes before happy hour started because I was at work super late. And I was like eating my dinner during the first 10 minutes. But I heard you like say the theme and I was like, oh, that's perfect for me. Because it was a long day at work. And the reason was partly because we had two like very, very difficult conversations that came up in sort of the late afternoon and evening that literally like were life and death situations. And I think like thinking about wise livelihood, it's so interesting to sort of like watch the mind and emotions when it's like, okay, this is the time normally I would leave, but there's this situation that's like extremely important, and just like watching that sort of tug of like knowing that I need to do the thing that's right, and stay. And it was so interesting because I stayed and we talked to these two patients and like families, and um, I was like on my way out, and the staff physician I was working with was like, you know, we saw a lot of people today. It was really busy, but like the most meaningful thing was taking the time to talk to these two patients, and like do what hadn't been done before. Like the teams ahead of us hadn't taken the time to do that. Um, so yeah, I think it's like there's the thing that you do for your work, and then there's how you do it, and how like these varying like things tug at you. But like I think I could just like feel the practice there a lot. So that was nice.
Thank you, Megan. Thank you so much for bringing this in. So the intimacy of your wise livelihood, matter of life and death, working at the ICU, and the extra, doing the extra, taking the extra, showing up with compassion, really, with care, with wisdom for those who really needed it. And thank you for bringing that in, and doing the work you do in the world. Any other reflections, please?
I actually need some suggestion. I feel like I cannot focus, so it's just very jumpy my mind, and also over here actually it's very noisy. So even right now my kid is about to burst in. So I don't know if you have any recommendation what to do before, so that I can at least get my mind a little bit concentrated.
Yeah, I appreciate your question, Maria, and your interest in wanting to be more still. So what I would suggest is, before you come and sit, if you have the time and the space, if it's possible for you, to sit, to do some walking meditation, some movement meditation, to become more embodied. That way your mind can settle more. And you know about walking meditation, right? You can walk back and forth. Great. Do 10, 15 minutes of walking meditation as a preparation. And then I trust that when you come and sit down to meditate, you'll notice your mind being more stable, more settled.
Okay, thank you.
Okay? You're very welcome. Great. Yeah. Yeah, this is great. So, and Yuka says, I remember my childhood freedom. There is a smile that is safe and overflows from the inside. Practicing to stay connected. Beautiful. Oh, thank you, Yuka. That is just lovely. That is just lovely. Yeah. And Joe, Joe, your comment is about, the suggestion is about removing spotlight. Actually, there's a reason why I only have spotlight on myself, is to protect the privacy of everyone who shows up on Zoom, so that only I'm the one who's on YouTube, and nobody else's name and information is on Zoom. So there's a reason for that, Joe. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, great. So any other reflections you'd like to share, please, about the practice? Wise livelihood, what came up for you? Any comments, questions?
I have a question, Nikki.
Sure.
Is eating meat forbidden in Buddhist, religion?
Yeah. In Buddhist philosophy, well, there's Buddhist philosophy, it's practiced as a religion. It's not forbidden. And it's a part of a long conversation, but very briefly to say, as the you're not supposed to kill anything or anyone, and yet to consider that the monks were all mendicants, so they were dependent. Whatever was offered to them, they ate. So if they went to a family and the family gave them meat, they gratefully they ate whatever was offered to them. So the Buddha did not make it. You can't, because maybe that's all they got the whole day.
Mm-hmm. But what about someone who's, say, practicing the religion and is not a mendicant?
Yeah, it's similarly there. You're invited to consider what is to use your wisdom. So if it is possible for you to not eat meat, then don't. But there are people who have physical limitations and physical conditions and various things. So there is no, it's basically Buddhism invites you to really make decisions for yourself. It doesn't say, don't do this. It's like, consider the harm, the impact and all of that, the environmental. So you're invited, but there is no, you don't have to be a vegetarian.
No, I mean, I am a vegetarian, but I was just asking.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, that comes up and
Okay.
it could be a longer conversation also, but yeah, appreciate the questions. So. And yeah, also thank you for, let's see, a couple more reflections from Holly. I saw my young self liked to play with others. At the moment, I'm looking at career pathways at this insight and this insight clarifies what came up last night in counseling, which is that working in a team is the most important thing in choosing a career. Thanks for sharing that, Holly. That's wonderful to hear. And Rich, please.
Awesome. Now, is that childhood visualization part of like a classic Buddhist guided meditation? I'm new to Buddhism, but I've never heard that before. But to be honest, as I was thinking about that, I don't have any kids. And all of a sudden, I had a kid and I could relate to a parent because I knew what I was thinking because, I was both people. That was really, really fun for me. Great.
Fantastic. I am so glad that it came up for it. It worked and really, wow, it came alive for you. So the practice of metta is basically, we call it skillful means. So there are a lot of different skillful means. So this invitation that I shared with you is basically to conjure up, to bring up the sense of connection, relatedness, love, which we all have. But if I just tell you, oh, love yourself, you're like, what? So these are the ways to tap into, and there are a lot, there are some teachings, but it's basically cultivating. It's skillful means that I use from my own practice as a teacher, knowing what works to invite you to tap into what you already have, and to build on it, to cultivate more friendliness and care for yourself. So no, you won't find this guided meditation in any suttas, but it is considered skillful means, and creativity is always welcome. Great. So wow, time flies. Talked a lot tonight. So let's transition, please, to our time together, which, let's see, I think we can still do it. Let's do it. So the invitation is now, we'll be in groups of 3 and showing up with a sense of care that you had for this little child that was you, and seeing the little children and everyone that you're in the group with, to show up with the same level of care and friendliness and goodwill for all the children, all three of you in this group. And the prompt is, how was the guided meditation? And you can say, my mind was all over the place, didn't like it, loved it. Doesn't matter what you say, but how you show up with care for yourself and friendliness for others. Okay. And again, if this moment is not appropriate for you to engage, it's perfectly fine to bow out. No judgment of yourself or anyone else. So, but I hope you stay and connect with others. It's always fun to connect with other practitioners. So I will create the rooms and there. So we have just a few minutes for any reflections, either from the first part or the second part of your practice in community. And especially if you haven't spoken yet today, please, you can unmute yourself or type in chat. Don't be shy.
Well, hi, Nikki.
Hi.
Everyone. I had a breakthrough realization that that Metta is about sort of like locating the happiness in yourself and then like using that to like grow. Like I think that when I thought about this practice before, I think I maybe kind of skipped that part, and I was just like, all right, who else am I sending my love beams to? But it made me realize how really helpful it is to like take care of yourself first, like taking a lot of time with that. So I loved this so much. It was so wonderful.
Yay to a breakthrough, Katie. Yay to a breakthrough. I celebrated with you with much mudita, with much vicarious joy for you. It's so important to get that, to grok that, how much self-care and self-love is just really the basis, and how important that is, Katie. Yay, you just made me very happy. Thank you for sharing that. It's lovely. Yeah. Any other reflections, please? Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, hi. Yeah, I was just sharing with the group that I had some really great ideas and inspiration during meditation, but something told me that it's okay to let them go too. Not to really grasp onto any ideas and it almost gave me more empowerment over it, just thoughts. Just not to avoid bad thoughts, but also not to cling on to good thoughts. So,
Nice. Nice. I'm loving hearing the way you're describing that actually gave you empowerment. Like, yeah, great thought. I don't have to grab onto it right now, think about it. If it's important enough, it will come back later. And right now I can just be here. There's a sense of empowerment and stability. You don't have to be, you're not on the leash and be pulled here and there by a thought just because it has arisen. You have to sniff it and follow it. That is fantastic. Thank you for sharing that,
Yes.
Prajna. That's a great realization. Beautiful. Yeah. Well.
Hi, Nikki.
Hi, Patricia.
How are you? I just want to say I'm coming to your retreat with Diana, and I had a quick question about the retreat, but I don't want to hold everybody up. So if I can ask you when the meeting's over, that would be so great.
Sounds good. I'm happy to stay a few minutes extra and answer that question.
Thank you.
So it is 7 p.m. Pacific time and 10 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Anyway, all these time zones. So thank you all for joining, for practicing together. How beautiful. What a beautiful Sangha you are. Just makes me so happy every time we're together. May you be safe, happy, and well. May the goodness of our practice support our awakening to more compassion, wisdom, love, and to impact all beings whose lives ours touches. Take care. Have a good weekend. Bye.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Thank
Bye,
you.
everyone.
Nikki.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.